All right, good afternoon. Excited about a top 15 matchup this week with Ole Miss. First time they've come to Norman. So they've got an excellent football team, 6-1 on the year, and boy, they've been impressive watching them play. Certainly they scored on their first 5 possessions against Georgia last week, a really good Georgia team, but heavyweight showdown. And they came up on the short end of it. But they've got an excellent roster, an elite staff that's won at the highest level, and they're playing really, really well. Obviously, the head coach, being an offensive guy, they're kind of headlined offensively, and justifiably so. They've averaged over 500 yards a game since 2020. They're averaging just under 40 points a game, and 492 yards a game, second in the SEC and 8th in the country. They're really balanced in what they're doing. Ranked second in the country in plays of 30-plus yards, and a couple of explosive plays against us a year ago where really they kind of slammed the door on us in the second half with some explosive plays. They're second in the SEC and 15th in the country, and only allowing 7 sacks on the season. So they've done a great job of keeping the quarterback upright and keeping him clean. And when they do punt, which isn't very much, again, they're averaging 45 yards a punt. They play excellent defense. I've always admired and respected, really don't know them, but have watched Pete Golding and their staff and what the things that they've been able to do. And a year ago, they led the country in a whole bunch of categories, but he's got an excellent defensive pedigree and have his guys ready to compete. The quarterback is just fabulous, man. He's a winner. Being a former national champion, he had over 4,000 yards and 51 touchdowns in one season. Most guys go through the whole career, don't hit those numbers, but 5 straight games of over 250 yards a game passing. First Ole Miss quarterback that's done that since Eli Manning, and he's thrown for just under 1,600 yards, 8 touchdowns, only one interception on the year. He's rushed for 323 yards, so about 50 yards a game, just enough to kind of piss you off, and 5 touchdowns. But I really got great respect for how they play. Their running back, number 5, man, he is super physical. Keywan Lacey from down in Dallas, 210 pounds, and he's got concrete in his helmet. When he's pass prone, he knocks the heck out of blitzing linebackers or safeties. They got a big physical, athletic tight end, and DeQuan Wright, really an excellent player. He's a big part of their short yardage package as well, and a really good defense that's peppered with lots of really good players that they've recruited. Probably the guy that stands out up front. They've got a big 6'8", 300-plus pound defensive tackle in Xavier Harris. He has 7 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. He's been really good and disruptive. So really excited. Our players are looking forward to, again, learning the new DNA of the new opponent and all the challenges that this team will present, certainly offensively for what they do, throwing the ball all over the place. They do, as good a job as anybody in college football that way.
We'll start on the far right, Barry. Yeah, Brent, Vanderbilt is an SEC challenger. Indiana's ranked 3rd in the nation. Georgia Tech is top the ACC. The world's gone mad. Everything's upside down. Is that good or bad for Oklahoma football?
I don't know what it is to Oklahoma football. Every program kind of stands on its own 2 feet. So I think it's good. I like it. It's exciting. And, again, as we talked maybe a week ago, and a lot of people probably are talking about it, there's more parity than it's ever been. And I think that's exciting for the game.
Brent, as you were rattling off all of Ole Miss's offensive challenges, I'm wondering about how you prepare your guys, whether it's Ole Miss or any other offense. I'm not looking for game details necessarily, but just pull back the curtain a little bit on how you prep, maybe how that's evolved over the years, where you sort of develop some of your methodology for getting a defense ready for challenges
Well,
like this?
yeah, everything started, with Coach Stoops and Coach Snyder, Coach Levitt, my linebackers coach. Just their prep, their detail. We would work on people year round, and I love that. I love the strategy of the game and trying to understand the DNA of people. Mentality as much as you do the scheme. I think that's important. And then you study people in their most stressful, pressure-filled, game-on-the-line moments. Those always, from a DNA standpoint, always will show back up. But find out what people really believe in and what they do well. And, defensively, you got to do your best to try to take those things away and make them, lean on something that maybe they're not quite as good at. And so that's kind of where it starts. Our ability to get our players to understand that is what's most important. My ability as a coach and as in a coordinator role is to make sure everybody in the room, I'm just one person, everybody in the room sees it the same way. And we've got an excellent staff. This is the best defensive staff that I've been on since I've been coaching, and I've been on a couple of really amazing staffs, but top to bottom, understanding of both the front end and the back end. This is a group that's full of a bunch of great teachers and motivators, guys that show up with passion and energy. We've got a great cohesion and respect and trust amongst each other, and I try to provide an environment that nurtures opinions and also input. And I don't have all the answers, and I've got a lot of really good coaches, and I'm trying to do a good job of empowering and helping. If we're going to be great, then it's going to take everybody. And so I can't. Probably a younger version of me I'm supposed to have all the answers, and so maybe didn't welcome the input or ideas or opinions, things of that nature. So. And then how fast. I love the challenge of the week, the clock. I got that hourglass that we put in front of the guys all the time. And some people look at the clock as, how quickly can I, get done with the day? And my mind is it's the exact opposite. It's like, man, there's not enough time in the day. So it's a race against the clock. I'm trying to, because everybody has the same amount of time to prepare and get ready. So how quickly can we get our guys comfortable, anticipating, playing fast, playing physical, put together the game plan, and, do what we do. And then, week to week have your wrinkles. I like that piece. There's a lot of people that don't do it, that way. They're more like, man, they're going to have to adjust to us. And I get that. And there's a piece of that is true. Two things can be true. But I like the strategy piece of it week to week as well, and where you can try to manipulate things to work in your favor. And so it's that's an excellent question. It's very broad, and I could literally talk for a long time through that. You and I could go back and forth, but in a 4-minute answer, that's kind of what it looks like to me in all the situational football. Get our players, how fast can we get our players to not only know them on a brief scouting report scale, but situational football, who they are backed up, low go, green zone, high red, low red, 2-minute, 4-minute, third down, fourth down, first and 10 after a conversion, second long after an incomplete, all of those things. Those are the things that if they know what I know, man, we're going to play at a much, different headspace, which I think is really, important. Defensively speaking, we don't control tempo. We don't control when they snap the ball. We have to adjust. Defense is about adjusting to aligning and making all your adjustments to what they present. And so it's trained reaction. So how fast can we get our guys to, react really, really fast to everything that they do? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent, wanted to ask you about your cheetah group. Obviously, Kendall Daniels, Reggie, they've played a lot. Dolby's been in and out. Just how do you feel about the way that group has kind of come together?
Man, it's the best group that we've had. Best group that I've I've had some that are equal with one guy, but the depth of it, never. And it's been a lot of fun. It's a really good problem to have, how we get everybody on the field. And I'm not necessarily, hey, let's make everybody happy. That's never my motives. My motives are putting guys in position to lean on what they can do really well and then do a lot of it. And we happen to have, a threesome there that, man, they're a bunch of dogs. Hey, they're tough. And I don't say that a whole lot. These guys, man, they're edgy, they're tough, they're excellent in their skill set, strong tacklers, really good in space, instinctual, excellent with blitz timing, fantastic with their hands, play fast, super ultra competitive. And that's the cool thing, that Reggie can play multiple spots, Kendall Daniels can play multiple spots. Kendall Dolby can play, multiple spots, corner, safety, cheetah, linebacker, all of those different areas. So that's really been a big part of us. I think we've played well on the perimeter this year. All the perimeter RPOs and the screen game and setting hard edges and the jet sweep game and things of that nature are critical to playing good, consistent defense. Those are the layups that a lot of people lean into to stay on schedule, and we've been really pretty good. Not perfect, but we've been really pretty good all year, which has really helped our inside and outside, run defense, screen defense, things of that nature that have helped us cap things off, defensively.
Dolby, he popped up late on the injury report Friday night. Just what's his situation right now?
Yeah, he's just trying to, figure everything out. But he's practicing and, so that's kind of where he is. He'll be available.
I know you don't have any say in these types of decisions, but I was just curious your thoughts when the SEC comes out and gives you guys Ole Miss as a permanent rival the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's great. Whatever name would come out of your mouth would be, I'd say it's great. It's a really good conference. Everybody's going to present their own challenges, so I think it's great.
You guys obviously, I think only played them twice every year. Not much history with them. Mm-hmm. What did you think of just that decision versus like an A&M that you guys have won?
I don't know. I played A&M for a long time. That was great too, and I really don't have any opinion. Other than that, I could care less. I don't mean that in any kind of disrespect, but I don't control that. So my job is just to kind of get our team ready for whoever's next. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent, I think this is just the fifth time in the last 10 years that a top 10 team has come to Norman.
Say that again.
This is just the fifth time that a top 10 team has come to Norman.
When are the other games?
It was two last year, Alabama and Tennessee, and I think TCU in 2017 and Ohio State in 2016. I'm just wondering, what does that do for your program, that you have so many quality opponents in big games like this at home?
Yeah, I think that was one of the attractive, qualities of, the decision to go to the SEC. I wasn't a part of that decision, so I don't know I don't want to act like I know everything that went into it, but I do know that aligning with, an incredible brand in the SEC was a big part of it. The attractiveness of, bringing elite teams to Norman, Oklahoma, and everything that goes with that for the, the community, our business community, financially speaking. Certainly there's an impact there. And then the quality of the game, game day environment, the opponent, and that's exciting. And so that probably aligns with what I thought it would be. The challenge of the SEC and the new schedule. It's different, more different than it's ever been, to your point. And but that's it gets guys really fired up. Our players. That's what I noticed. The energy, the buzz, the anticipation is real. Mm-hmm.
Brent, I wanted to ask you about your defensive tackles on the interior there. It looks like you've been able to have a true four-man rotation, play a lot of guys there, snaps there. David Stone's emerged. Just how have you seen that group develop as the season's gone on, and how important has it been to have that true depth?
Yeah, again, when you say it all the time, you hear it. Everything starts up front, but really interior up the middle of the defense is where, the really elite units got to be strong. And we are. It's not just size. It's not just we got some good pass rushers or disruptive guys. Man, they play ultra physical. They put their face in it. They are heavy-handed. They play with really good quickness. When we've been good and we've been dominant, they get good knockback. They understand the value of that. They understand what sacrifice looks like, pad level, leverage, physicality, violent, all of those things. It's been a group that through 7 games and all the prep that goes into it, man, they've been serious, been focused, tough-minded, ultra consistent when it comes to putting in time above and beyond, what's required. I talked about that last night on my coach's show. Man, this is a group that, man, they spend a lot of time together. They've taken great pride in building something over the last, few years. And obviously David and Jaden were freshmen a year ago. Dom was a first-year player a year ago. So it happened, pretty, rapidly. Grayson is kind of the senior of the group, the old man of the group. But, man, what I've loved the most, importantly, in that group, sometimes they can be strong, but they don't have this dominant presence to them when it comes to leadership. And that couldn't be further from the truth of this group. This is a group that they've really taken ownership of the leadership role. Not just having a great, strong physical presence on game day, but this is a group that's highly invested from a leadership standpoint, vocally, bringing guys along, setting the tone, just being tone setters for how we practice, how we work, how we compete, and how we build, relationships. I think that's, kind of a piece of all of it that is really, it's kind of the magic to me. To get in a group that really genuinely loves each other, knows each other, spends a lot of time together, has each other's back. Man, they care about one another, so they sacrifice more, they give more, they practice a little harder, they spend more time preparing week in and week out and take immense pride in the product. And so, where I don't have to say, hey, Grayson, I need you to get up and say something to everybody today. Tell everybody you stunk, a week ago and you didn't play to your ability and you could have done better. No, he's just taking it on his own. And we have more players they're doing that. So just great self-awareness, humility, all those kinds of things. But that's been a group that has made we haven't had that the last few years, and so that's been a real critical part of building the defense and getting it to where it is. And there's still more to be had, and that's the cool part. And these guys are hungry for that. Mm-hmm.
Brent, you mentioned how deep and what the cheetah room has looked like. What has it meant for Wes to be coaching them, and how has he evolved?
Man, it's so you don't understand how fun that is for me to have him. He's one of the most consistent people that I've ever met. He's got a brilliant football mind. He sees things before they happen. He knows the answers to the test. When anything goes wrong, he understands the fundamentals at all 3 levels of the defense that go along within the scheme and the drill work that you need to be doing in a very limited amount of time. How do you maximize your time? He's super efficient on and off the field. Gets along with everybody. We have a ton of fun, in our room doing really hard stuff. And but he's done a great job at mentoring and coaching those guys, and the players have had a lot of fun. Really kind of getting to know him. He's a little bit more of a quiet guy on the field until you screw up, and then it's holy hell. And it's people. It's a real Jekyll and Hyde, and so I think initially people were pretty surprised, but it gives me great comfort too, because I know he knows his stuff, and I know he knows me. And when I ask to get certain things done, he always over-delivers, and so he does that for the players. He does that for the rest of the defensive staff as well.
I just wanted to ask you, Coach Dreiling, how much has his role on the team this year? How huge has that been?
Yeah, he's been awesome. Nate's a dude. He's got great instincts as a coach, great football mind, all the things that made him a great football player from a leadership standpoint and an instinct standpoint, understanding the game of football standpoint, not only growing up as a coach's kid, but man, he surpassed his dad, and all of his dad's a 10-time state, high school championship coach. And but just comes from a football family, man. He understands the dynamics. He understands how young men go through their journey, how they prepare, what leadership looks like. So mentoring, I lean into him. I lean into the whole staff. I lean into him when it comes to, what do you think here? Well, what would your answer be here? What are the issues there? And then he's done an awesome job. Him and Wes, they meet together a lot with the backers, and I love watching that happen, where never know when you bring people together that have been, coordinators, and Nate's spent a season as a head coach, and they've both had ultra high level, elite level success as national champions in their own spaces, how that all will work. And it's been a whole lot better than I could have ever have asked. And, but the players will tell you, man, he's a great, not a good, he's a great teacher. He's elite at what he does. Fundamentals, what you should and shouldn't do as a linebacker, what you can and can't do, and how it matches up with the different schemes. When to pull the trigger, when not to, all these little things that when you add them all up, man, it's made a difference. That group has played outstanding this season.
Georgia had some pretty good success batting the ball down with Chambliss this past weekend. They like to run the quick game a lot. How do you manage that and doing that without losing a lot of your aggressiveness?
That's a good question. I'm just smiling just because, it's a feel thing. It's an instinctual thing. And there's some fundamental. We work the drill every day when it comes to, playing the quarterback's, hand and with your offhand and things like that. But one of the keys for Georgia is, they got a bunch of big, long, rangy dudes that, their hands that go, to the clouds, their arms that go to the clouds. And so that helps too, being a long front. But they did a nice job, I think you always want to disrupt, the quarterback, and you want to affect the quarterback. And so playing fast but not sitting there looking in the backfield the whole time, there's a delicate balance to all of it. And so you figure that out, week to week. But there's some fundamental things to it too, when you should or shouldn't be doing those types of things. But you want your players to have great awareness, and not have their head buried. And I thought you said do my job, and but you got to have awareness too. I think instinctive players have awareness, and I think trained players have awareness. We need to affect the quarterback to have a chance to win this week. That kind of goes without saying. So that'd be a big part of the game if we were able to do that without a doubt. And they hit some late, in the game that made a big difference on a couple of last drives.
Back to the right side, second row, Joe Masato.
Yeah, Brent, when you look at some of the toughest, stretches in OU football history schedule-wise, a lot of people think back to Red October 2000, playing Texas, Kansas State, Nebraska. What do you remember that just kind of got you guys through that stretch?
Just taking them one at a time. We were certainly we didn't know how good we could be in that season, and certainly going into the Texas game, they were a favorite, but we played really well. We got really hot, and we played really well there. Certainly that game and the next couple of games, there was a real challenge. I thought we overcame, and we learned a lot about our identity of our football team through not a lot of challenges that week against Texas, I think 63-14, and then went to Manhattan. They hadn't lost at home in 4 years, and we got up on them, and then they came roaring back like you would expect them to. That's 2 years removed from when we were there. We were the number one team in the country, number one defense in the country. So they had a tremendous, culture, and Coach Snyder done an amazing job there, championship team. And but we were able to withstand on the road. A big comeback by them late in the fourth quarter. I think we still won by a couple of scores. And then Nebraska, being down, 14-0, and they had mowed through a lot of people, and it could get pretty overwhelming what they were able to do to people. And I remember Coach Stoops, just having great poise under pressure, right? Having poise under pressure from a leadership standpoint. Hey, man, just settle down. We're overrunning stuff. We'll be fine. All right, let's just play our ball. And I think 31 unanswered points. But we went through challenges. We had several games there that we didn't look great. We figured out a way to win. And so we were able to overwhelm people at times. We were able to figure out a way to win when things got ugly. And that's a mark of a good football team. And then even, Hype had a bad arm, had issues with a sore elbow, and that was swelling up. And so even then, fighting through some injuries and being good enough. And then the defense grew up as the season went on. That was a defense that early in the year we were okay, but man, we had some excellent players that we hadn't really developed a real identity. But as the season went on, and the offense after Red October really wasn't able to dominate as much as they had, we kind of figured out, how we needed to complement each other. And just thinking out loud as you asked that question, but that was, again, the season that, we were playing Oklahoma State out here at their place. It's 3-8, and we go to the wire. The last play of the game, I think they're throwing a fade route to the big tight end they had. Is it maybe Rivers? Maybe not him, but Rivers going against redshirt freshman Derek Strait, corner. He goes up and he knocks the ball, out of his hands to win that game, and then go to Kansas, play Kansas State again, and in a rematch and 27-24, and again find a way to win. Tim Duncan kicks the knuckleball field goal to win it, and the Oranges were flying. So that's kind of briefly what I remember, about that 25 short years ago. But that every year has this unique story, all of its own, and identity, the players, the moments, the adversity, all those types of things, the challenges of a season. Mm-hmm.
Ben was just up here saying how on team flights he's usually taking a nap or watching a movie, but when y'all were going to South Carolina, Giovanni came over and sat with him for like 90 minutes, going over plays, watching some more film and prep. Do you often see players do that on flights? And I guess what does that say about Giovanni's initiative and just his want to get back to where he was before the injury?
Yeah, I would call that abnormal. That's that's not the norm. It doesn't surprise me. He loves ball, and it's really exciting for us to watch him, get back into this rhythm and the confidence and those types of things. But he's very hungry. He shows up every day to the facility with an edge and a hunger, and wants to contribute. And I didn't know that he did that. So I'm not surprised, but that is definitely abnormal.
Thinking your receiver room with Satania, 7 games in, he's basically set career high for every mark for him. But we've talked about what makes him so threatening, play big, stuff like that. Have you seen his confidence grow and kind of grow into his role this year as he's continued to have a ton of success?
Yeah, I think it's come through just a body of work, through having success. We've really leaned on him, but he's a very instinctual player, got fantastic ball skills. He's got he loves to compete. Plays with a lot of confidence, super aggressive. You see a wiry guy like him always falling forward, but he's scrappy. Said it in the spring that he was our most consistent player. Did more, contributed more, impacted, has a chance to impact us. Supernatural, returning kicks as well. But man, he's the same guy every day. And low maintenance. Those are your favorite types of players. Ultra consistent, low maintenance, ultra competitive, real physical and mental toughness to him. That the players, it resonates with the players. He's become a leader just by making everybody around him better, man. People really like it. Both sides of the ball, all 3 phases, they really look up to Isaiah.
Yeah, so Coach, you've mentioned that you're kind of a fan of ball in general. And I wanted to ask you about Ole Miss's quarterback, but I want to ask you about his story a little bit and how that resonates with you as from the outside looking in, a guy who played 1 year, a guy who wasn't even the starter going into this season, as a guy who kind of, I think he got a soft spot for underdogs. What do you think of him from the outside looking in from that standpoint?
Yeah, a guy that, you know, he left a national championship program. He's the backup, and you know that you don't get that opportunity and do as well as you have without being tough and mature and ready, and not a guy that's going to show up and if you give me my opportunity, I'm happy. If not, man, I'm going to be over here feeling bad for myself and having a pity party. So a lot of maturity for that. You know, those are life-changing kind of decisions. And but you know, the message is whatever your role is, man, do it well, and be prepared. Anticipate to come out here and play 50, 60, 70 snaps if you're a backup. If you're on the travel roster, man, we have high expectations for you, and you owe it to your teammates to be prepared, like you're the starter. And that's a guy that, which is kind of rare, be honest, a guy that, over-delivered, in that way.
Brent, at this point, you always have to massage the redshirt question of things like Javante and maybe Zion Kearney and some others. But I'm curious, right now it's 4 to play 5 years. Would you like to see it go just to 5 years?
I've been told that it's inevitable. It's supposed to happen very soon. And so there's not going to be a grandfather where after this year you get 5 total years. This will be a year that counts towards that. So, but I've been told it's supposed to happen sooner rather than later. And so, for all the reasons, so that, coaches aren't hamstrung with a roster that now all of a sudden you spend all this time getting them ready, investing them, preparing them. You made hard decisions where they became a two-deep guy, and then all of a sudden, at some point in time during the season, if that rule isn't there, then it can make things a little more challenging than it needs to be, and mentally and for your roster standpoint and week to week getting guys ready to play. So I think that'll happen soon. It needs to for lots of reasons. Let guys have 5 years, and one of the reasons is for that the NCAA will likely pass that, and then the other is so that they don't have to have all these cases of giving an additional year and then getting into the 6th and the 7th year and all of that. Get 5 years. So that's hopefully coming, really soon.
You expect to get Barnes back this week?
I don't know. We'll see what he looks like today.
Coach, how much fun has it been to see Taylor Lane development and just into becoming such a key piece in this defensive unit this season?
It's been great, man. Again, got a great story. No, I don't want to be redundant in going back through that, but again, to your point, and I made this point to our team again on Monday. This is a guy that he's not coming up negotiating about time. My playing time. I think I'm out playing, somebody, or that hasn't been, an issue. He comes up to the building to work, and he spends an inordinate amount of time working and preparing and film study and working on his body and knowing the game plan inside and out. And then, man, he lays it on the line out here on the practice field every day. He's wide open. He's super coachable, really low maintenance. Got a lot of toughness to him. He looks up to his teammates, so he tries to get as much, as he can. But a guy that, again, maybe rate the 80th defensive end in high school in the country by one service, and never allowed that to put limits on himself about what he could become. Redshirted, and then redshirt freshman. Didn't really play, and then this is year 3 for him. First year, being in a 2 deep, and man, he's ready for his role. But that's what, that's the old part of old college football. That, and to me, to have a roster that's built the right way, man, you've got to have a foundation piece that looks like that. That's a perfect world. But a guy that, again, I said this before, and I told the team, just kind of walked him back. I mean, we lost a commitment, and then we almost within hours I think it was the same day, we found a video of a guy had some G5 offers, and we're like, man, this looks too good to be true. And made the call, and all the things were good from the coach. And then we're like, well, what's he look like, in person? And you never know that. We actually happened to be recruiting a receiver at his school at the same time. And next thing you know, we end up offering him. And, and I was big on, if we love everything about him, then I don't want to be let down because he doesn't look the part when you see him. That guy's a football player. And let's offer him. And then he wanted to commit almost on the spot. And then it was just like, whoa, you're like, I made a reference to the team, but, that was, he loved us too much, too fast, and one of those deals. And we're like, wait a minute. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemy as coaches. This is what we asked for, and then he wants to do it, and then we're not quite ready. But we waited for him to come on his visit, and that next weekend, and I think it was during the season, and he loved it. We loved him and his family, amazing family. But he's raised the right way. Again, he's a very thankful guy, and I get text messages from his family, just very, very low maintenance, thankful people, salt of the earth people. So he's got a chance to play this game a very, very long time, but super physical and plays really fast. He plays really hard. It kind of goes without saying, but man, he plays. He's very athletic. He's got great quickness. He's got great versatility. He's actually played inside, and he can wreck shop as a 3 technique. And we haven't done that yet with him. But love his players, his teammates. Teammates love him. He really look up to him. He's become a real leader, not because he's trying to, but just by how he does what he does. Just showing up and laying it on the line, being a great example for what you want all your players to look like every day.
Brent, did you know what you had in Tate Sandell when you got him on board, and does he impact how you manage the game, or a good, reliable kicker like that?
I mean, we were hopeful, but yeah, we thought that what I didn't know until I met him on his visit was how confident and how tough he was. And the makeup of all your players, you don't really truly know until you go through a recruiting process with them, have them on campus several times. But when he sat in my office for the first time and being around his mom and dad, man, he really endeared himself to me, just his toughness and things he liked to do off the field. But he was just built a little bit different, confident, edgy, very competitive. We felt that, if things didn't go his way, I mean, this is a kid that's going to fight. He's going to fight back. And but the pop, you don't ever really truly know, without seeing a live in-person evaluation. But man, the football really explodes off his leg. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, we put the kickers through a lot of competition things in practice. The team's up and around, and we do 2-minute drills and once a week as well, where they got to go make a play. Even if we make a touchdown, we'll come back and, hey, we needed a field goal. Here it is. And he wants to kick the 62, 64, 65-yarder. He doesn't want to kick the 38-yarder. He wants a big kick and a big moment. And I think that's 12 straight for him, 55-yarder. He's been fantastic for us, but absolutely it does affect, decisions that we make. And certainly, again, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again, just the league that we're in. You get in position to get points. He's a guy that you really feel confident that you can come away with, scoring in those situations, that some of those fringe places on the field that, do you go for it? Do you punt? We got a great defense. Do you put them inside the 5? We've shown a propensity to be able to do that as well. And but man, he's right there on that fringe. There's a little bit of a breeze. What do you think? Those are all, decisions that it's great. I'm glad we have that problem. You have to make some of those decisions because he can do it. All right, appreciate it.